Hi there everyone, welcome back to Scott Stuff. It's been a little while. I've been figuring out board games with Scott and posted a new episode there, and so it's taken me some time to figure out how to get everything going with that. And so, but I think things are on the way there. And speaking of being on the way, I'm getting ready to be on my way. I'm heading out to the Netherlands later on today, actually, for 10 days to go and help teach a Games for Change seminar. So there's going to be faculty coming from around the world and students gathered together, and over a week the students will have to actually create a game. And so I'm getting ready to head out. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about traveling and traveling for the gamer. One of the issues that we have when we like to travel is I like to always visit local game shops, and so if you do too, you may end up buying some things. How do you deal with that? So I'll talk about some of the stuff I always like to take on trips and some hints on traveling. Now, one of the things about traveling is I used to travel just with carry-ons. I would have my computer bag and I would have a maximum legal size carry-on. Actually, the one I preferred was from Patagonia called the MLC for maximum legal carry-on. And I could get I would carry just that for a 2-week trip. And part of the way you do that is you think about what clothes you're going to take. And you realize that when you're on vacation, you don't always have to look fabulous like I do now. Instead, you just have to look presentable. And so you end up wearing the same outer clothes from day to day. You select, I usually take 2 long sleeve shirts, and I have 2 pair of pants, including the one I'm wearing, and a pair of shorts. And not too many color variations. Try to make everything match that you're bringing along. But there are a few things that I always bring along that I've found to be fairly useful, and I thought I'd talk about those first. So the first thing that's very useful is a travel scale. Now, this scale will hook onto luggage, and I can see how heavy my luggage is. So this is incredibly useful, especially given how much they charge if you go overweight. So you can use this scale to see how much more stuff can I buy, or do I need to stop and ship a box home. Usually it's cheaper to ship a box of stuff home than it is to take the overweight penalty on your luggage. But then you have to wait for it to get there. So you have to decide whether you want to pay for that speed of having it. But this little travel scale, when I was at the Essen board game fair, every night I had 3 large suitcases because I was traveling with someone else. And so I would come home and weigh all the suitcases and see how much I could get. I got about 80 games home from that fair. I'll talk a little bit about how to get games home later on. The second thing I always like to take is a miniature tripod. Now, I do like making videos, I like taking pictures, but if I'm by myself, it can be hard to do that by myself. So you can get these little travel tripods, and so your camera goes up top. The tripods have little extendable legs, and so they give you some height. You can usually find a table or something to set it on. And so I've been able to take pictures when I'm by myself with these little bitty tripods, and it packs away very neatly and easy to deal with. Now, the third thing that I take, remember earlier I talked about wearing the same outer clothes, is I take underwear. Yes, I'm showing you my underwear. Hooray! But this is special underwear. This is from the Travel Smith company or Magellan's. I use either one. This particular brand is Tilly. Tilly's a great travel company, but Magellan's and Travel Smith offer these things. And the nice thing about these underclothes is that they can be dried overnight if you wash them in your hotel sink. So what I do is I only take about 3 pair of underwear and underclothes, but then I wash them in the hotel sink, and because they're designed to be quick drying, they dry overnight. So I have that for underwear, socks, and t-shirts. And so that's what I wash, and then I wear the same outer clothing. And you can get some travel, it's called travel wash, it's very heavily concentrated wash. You can also get a line that has suction cups, but I usually find the shower rod works quite well for that because you're not drying a lot of stuff. It tends to work well if you do this on a regular basis. So when you change, you wash the things that you've changed and hang those up, and so you've got a 3-day cycle going on. And I'm sure the cleaning people just love to walk through your room with your clothes hanging everywhere. But also, in this case, I'm taking a suitcase because I want to bring back games. So how do you travel with games? And so, games tend to be these big cardboard boxes, not really made for travel. You've got 2 issues when you travel with games. One is space, the second is weight. The space one is a little easier to deal with. So the first thing you do is whenever you buy a game, you want to punch out all the cardboard chips and throw away those cardboard holders. So you want to reduce your weight that way and also reduce your space. So in order to do that and not have a mess when you come home, bring Ziploc baggies. So I always travel with a batch of these little Ziplocs. So when I buy a game, I punch out all the components and put it in Ziploc baggies. Now the second thing to think about is the insert. Now, most of these games have an insert. Sometimes they're plastic and sometimes they're cardboard. First, you need to figure out if the insert is critical to the game. Second, you need to figure out if the insert is critical to you. If it's a plastic insert, you don't have a lot of choices other than to keep it or throw it away. There is one trick, though. If you flip an insert over, you tend to get more space. So if you need more space. Now, cardboard inserts, however, they tend to be easily folded out. And so you can take a cardboard insert and fold it so it ends up being flat against the bottom of the box. And then you can put one game inside of another. So that's the key when you're dealing with board games, is that you can stack them. You can nest them like Russian nesting dolls. But the only way you do that is by getting rid of all the cardboard, getting rid of all the excess, either getting rid of the inserts or flattening out the inserts, and then you can put one game inside another game, inside another game, inside another game, and that's how you deal with the space issue. Now what you'll quickly run into is the weight issue. So the weight of games can be a real problem. A few tricks on that. So one is throwing away extra cardboard, throwing away things that you don't need. But the other trick is to look at the things in your game that are pure paper. Boards, rules. Boards, rules, and also cards tend to be the heaviest parts of your games. So what you could do is take all the boards out of your games and put them in your carry-on, because they don't weigh your carry-on. And so when I came back from Essen, I had about this big of a stack of nothing but boards, game boards, and that saved me a lot of weight on the games I was bringing back. And so those are my tips on stacking games. Now the fun part is when you come home and you open it up, and then you have to recombine all of your stuff together to make sure you find out where all the games are. And that's where having the Ziploc bags, and actually one thing that you can do is take a little slip of paper and write what the components are for each game in the Ziploc bag, so that if you combine all the stuff from 3 or 4 games, you're not trying to figure out, oh, what bits did this game go with, what bits did this game go with. Instead, each baggie has a little slip of paper that says, you know, this is Lost City. And so you can quickly reassemble everything when you get back home. So those are a few of my travel tips. I do plan to take a few videos while I'm on the road there, and assuming I can find a good internet connection, I will stay in touch with you. From Amsterdam, I'm going to be visiting the library in Delft, which is supposedly one of the most modern libraries in the world, and talking with the folks there. And then we'll be going to the Hogeschool van Amsterdam, where I will be teaching the class and working with the Amsterdam Public Library. And my students will be creating alternate reality games within 1 week at that library. So that's going to be really exciting to see what they come up with. So, because I got to get on the road and jump on a plane, I will see you all in the air and on the other side. Take care. Bye-bye.